Greetings. This is Charles Darwin, and I'm speaking to you from beside the Blue River in central Oklahoma, a very beautiful place. And I'm here to talk to you about living fossils. Now, when you hear the term living fossils, you probably think of the coelacanth fish or the horseshoe crab, species that look the same as they did millions of years ago. But you see, there are plant examples of living fossils also. This is one of them right here, the seaside alder. Now, right away, you're going to ask, how could anything in central Oklahoma be considered seaside? Well, here's the story. Apparently, millions of years ago, this species was widespread. We know this from fossils in which the leaves look exactly like those of the modern seaside alder. We, of course, don't know if it was the same. It just looks the same. That's all we can tell from the fossils. But at any rate, apparently after the last ice age, this broad range contracted into just 3 small populations. One of them is found on the east side of Chesapeake Bay on the Delmarva Peninsula. This is where it got the name seaside alder when it was first discovered. Then another population was discovered along the Blue River here in central Oklahoma. Its entire range is just mostly within a single small county in Oklahoma. Then recently, a third population was found in just one swamp in one county of northwestern Georgia. And that's all there is in the entire world, these 3 small populations of living fossils. And they're just barely holding on to survival. But the question is, why is this species almost extinct and other species of alders are doing very well? For instance, the hazel alder is growing all over wetland areas of eastern North America. The red alder is abundant in northwestern North America. What is different about this species? Well, botanists Stan Rice, Phil Gibson, Jim Schrader, and Bill Graves have determined that it probably has something to do with light. That the seeds of this species germinate and grow very well in moist, sunny conditions, but not in moist, shady conditions. Today, most places that are shady are moist, most places that are moist are shady. But after the last ice age, there were a lot of sunny, moist areas. And since that time, they've nearly died away. Now, they keep resprouting from their underground stems and roots. So whenever a flood comes along and destroys the above ground part of the alders, then they just grow back. In 3 or 4 years, you have an alder shrub that's just as large as the one that was killed. Now, there are lots of storms here in Oklahoma. You probably know we have a lot of tornadoes. And there's a lot of poor people who live in shacks here in Oklahoma. But they all seem to have great big shiny new pickup trucks. So my theory is that when a tornado comes along, they tie down their shacks to their pickup trucks to keep them from blowing away. Of course, I don't know that this is the case. But anyway, this is a living fossil, and it appears to persist in just these 3 locations by resprouting from its underground stems and roots. This is Charles Darwin. Tally ho, and amen.